I want to talk about actual news. And so I want to talk about this leaked audio that has been making the rounds in the Russian and Ukrainian internet. So this is allegedly a leaked recording of a phone call between a notable Russian music producer. His name is Prigozhin, but he's not Wagner's Prigozhin. He's like, it's a name, so multiple people have it. And Farkan Akramanov, I never say that name correctly, but he's an Azerbaijani businessman, and he is a former politician. In this 35-minute call, both men who appear to be friends discuss the current affairs in Russia and slam Putin and Russian leadership, amply using curse words. The segment is pieced together and translated and contains the juiciest parts, the parts we're about to watch. In the rest of the call, men complain about sanctions, which affected both personally. While Mr. Prigozhin denied that this call happened and claimed it was a deepfake made using neural networks, he later commented by saying, "Let's start with the fact that there is such a thing as a private life. People in private conversations can talk about anything." I don't understand why he would need to say that if it was all fake. Why he would be like, well, first off, everything's private. Second off, that's fake. Feels like he needs a backup plan. But he stated he couldn't remember the call happening. That is the number one thing people say when they did it. If somebody's guilty but they don't want to admit it, what you always say is, I don't remember that. Because that leaves room for, if you get discovered later, like this audio does, like this audio kind of exposes, then you can leave room to say, oh, well, I just didn't remember. You know, it's not that I lied and said it didn't happen. I just simply didn't remember. The Russian audience does not appear as convinced, however. A poll ran by one prominent Russian separatist, Oleg Tarazanov, on Telegram showed 58% believed it was real, and only 13% thought it was a deepfake. While the call is not informative by itself, if real, it could indicate the mood among some elite Russians. Okay, so let's watch this. This is a lot of audio to go through, but I think it's important to show you guys exactly what Russian oligarchs think of the war, Putin's government, and how it's going. This is from Prigozhin. Look, they all united. Igor Ivanovich, Sechin, Sergei Viktorovich, Zolotov. When I say Sergei Viktorovich, this is in reference to Lavrov. They all blame Shoigu. Shoigu is the Russian defense minister. This a critical something we see of from Russian Telegram a lot is criticisms of Shoigu and the Ministry of Defense, who people say has mismanaged the war horribly. They're right. They're not the only reason the war is going wrong, and replacing Shoigu wouldn't fix all the problems Russia has, but, you know, easy scapegoat. They call him a retard behind his back. They have a job to take him down, but they're not doing it now. They're accumulating. Okay, so not only are they calling the Russian defense minister a retard, but they're also saying that there's like a vague reference to someone trying to take him down that they're preparing. Yes, because someone needs to take the blame. Chimazov, he doesn't give a fuck. He's responsible for the military-industrial complex. They're all off their limits. My opinion is simple. They act like kings, like fucking gods. Absolute fucking scum. I can't say anything good about them. They're scumbags. Doesn't seem to like him very much. They have a collective guilt. Each one of them at the top is responsible for their own sector. 100%. They fucked up all their sectors, all of them. Putin was saying, as long as we have the army. It turned out there was no army either. Yes, 100%. Of course. They deceived him. They were deceiving him. They live in their own parallel. I assume parallel universe. They live in their own fucking world. The way they act. Many made their former assistants their fucking wives, you see. It's fucked up. Listen, Borya was here. Arkadiy's brother, a complete fucking moron. Honestly, a total fucking moron. My goodness, man. Dude, they are absolute. They're tearing apart Shoigu. They're saying Putin was easily tricked. You know, they're saying that the people who manage the military-industrial complex and all the sectors related to the war, they're all equally responsible for failing them. This is a lot, man. This is a lot. He was always like that. Greedy. Fucking hell. I'm so disappointed. Fuck this public. I'm in fucking shock. Jesus Christ. He swears like a sailor, doesn't he? Will they hold out? That's the question. I don't know. They fucking blew up the situation. Fucking blew up the country. Blew up everything. Everything. Yes. I don't know. The question is what's going to happen after them and how. They'll start coming. The Kadarites, the Prigozhinites, the Opishniks. It will. Jesus Christ, there's so many words here. They're talking about the possibility of infighting after Putin goes down. They'll be swinging daggers, sledgehammers. It's absolute nonsense. I've not heard a single comprehensible statement, not a single right move. So this is something that Putin kind of did purposefully in the way that he went after corruption in Russia. He didn't go through after all corruption. He didn't even go after corruption particularly hard. He went after the corruption of people who were against him and disorganized the oligarchs and centralized power around him, so if the oligarchs ever got into a situation like this where they want to get rid of him, they don't even know what to do. They don't know what moves to make. They don't know who to collab with. They think it's too disorganized and the repercussions are too immense, as you can see being expressed right here. You're saying the right thing. The right thing, Farkad. They could make something worthwhile when everything was going up. They were in the shadow of the rise. When energy carrier prices were going up, they were showered with gold, with all this money. They weren't visible. But now, that is a difficult situation. They all demonstrated they are all useless, incapable, not smart, not sensible, not qualified. Jesus Christ, just call him a cuck. Did you see what he has done? He put them all against each other on the chessboard just to fucking save himself. That's exactly true. Because the thing is, if everybody else is fighting to be Putin's next in line, if everybody else is fighting in order to gain Putin's favor, then they're too busy to unite against Putin and try to get rid of him if the war is not going swimmingly. They eat each other now. Putin won't save them. Putin won't save. He's responsible for everything. We have a republic, a federation, a president country. President will answer for all of this. For all this. They'll ask for him. No, Farkad. The fact they fucking blew up the country, you cannot even doubt it. So they're saying that Putin isn't safe either. They fucked us up, our children, their future, their fate, you see. Yes. To be honest, they're of course fucking criminals. Improper fucking criminals at that. Yes, we lived our lives, thank God. Have seen more than one shift, even worse. But how was it possible to start all this, not finish, to shit themselves? What was the point of starting? Yes. Listen, they lost. They lost to fucking Cardful 95. And things they say that are all of these fucking, they are all fighting against them. They themselves gave them a reason. Putin was driven into this shit. He drove himself into this. Honestly, if he stopped, he could have received his Nobel Prize and fucked off. But he gave away the country, gave it the fuck away. We've got nowhere to go. We'll be fucked. We have no fucking options. That's it. Even if he fucks them and presses the button, there's no fucking future for the nation in this configuration. That's it. He fucked us all in our mouths. Jesus Christ. Very, very homoerotic description of how Putin has destroyed Russia. Far from all of this. This is for a long time, unfortunately. He won't go back. He can't go forward. He'll be like this. All this bickering. They're cockroaches, gnawing each other in a glass. They'll be teaming up. They'll destroy one, then start eating each other, biting into the throat. They'll be drowning each other because they're drowning. They realize it's all over. It's all done. They want to pull everyone to the bottom. Yes, so many years. 22 years could have built. They built Dubai in 30 years. Dubai in 30 years. In 40, yes. Damn. Could have built the country. He's basically saying that Putin used his entire regime. Putin used his time in office. He wasted it. He threw it away. And in that time, he could have rebuilt a powerful Russia and instead built the carcass before you, seems to be what he's describing. Yes, what did we build? What did we do? Medvedev is the former president of Russia. He's Putin's right-hand man. He was with him on the campaign trail. I talk about this quote all the time. He's the guy who said Ukraineness is a disease of the mind. Medvedev says we have logs. We don't need coal. We all have gas. Holy fuck. In Tuva, 90% of the people use coal and logs. It's like they're from another fucking planet. Tuva is like in the center of the country. It used to be the country called Tuva. It's an Asian part of the country. In the middle of it, very how you say not a very wealthy part of the country. That's why they're talking about their conditions there and how they've dealt with the war. Scumbags. Scumbags. They fucking fooled everyone. Fucking pure scumbags. And spilling the blood of innocent people. Putin's a nobody. Oh my God. A nobody, a fucking nobody, insecure, both of them. Putin and Medvedev, fucking midgets, undersized, insecure. They hate everyone. Everyone hates them. The question is, when it all going to end? How is it going to end? And how do we sort through it all later? Holy shit. Oh my God. He called Putin a midget. If I was either of these people, I would be stayed away from any tall buildings, any hotel room. I would be looking for a way out of the country, if I'm being completely honest. Even if Putin personally called me, no, don't worry about it, private conversation. I would be looking for a way out, okay? I would be disappearing, okay? Hello, Ukraine, I want to surrender. You're not even a soldier, you're just a businessman. I want to surrender anyway. Please, take me, please, take me. People asking him if he's related to Yevgeny Prigozhin. No, he's not. A different Prigozhin. My goodness. What a crazy statement. But this isn't that surprising. Just because Putin has a lot of power in Russia, just because Putin has centralized control around himself through targeting of oligarchs strategically, allowing his oligarchs to stay corrupt and stay, and opposing oligarchs, forcing them out, by centralizing this power around himself, does not mean, it's ridiculous. Crimson, thank you so much for the rate of party of 2. That does not mean that everybody likes him, that everybody supports him, that everybody supports everything they're doing. It seems like when you listen to how these two members of the business community and former politicians are reacting to the war and reacting to how Putin has managed it, not only do they hate Putin and they hate the path they've taken, but if given the opportunity, these sound like people who would get rid of Putin in a heartbeat to try to fix the situation. That's what it sounds like. But the problem is that the repercussions for doing something like that, if it were to fail, is so immense that they're not going to try it. Not to mention the fact that they've even said in this call that nobody has a plan. Nobody's going in the right direction. My goodness, this is pretty crazy, man. This is the type of stuff that you would assume get somebody in a lot of trouble, man. If either of these people die in the next year, we all know why. I'm going to be for real. I don't want to be too conspiratorial, but ooh, baby. You see what the problem is. In this chaos and in the search of those guilty, they're trying to save their asses today, because it is now impossible to exonerate themselves in front of society. Look at China's politics. It's genius. He won't be removing anyone from positions. That's for sure. He doesn't work like that. He's the commander-in-chief. He's bearing all responsibility. He knows it's pointless to replace Shoigu. Trading bad for worse. This won't change anything at all. Nothing personal. He just knows he'll be answering for everything. My God, man. Who knew about this on February 24th when the war started? Who knew? Isif, it's our life, our fate. We can't turn the time back. Who knew? People have $35 billion frozen. So this is in reference to the fact that there are assets overseas frozen by the United States and other governments that the Russian oligarchical class cannot pull on, and assets, foreign reserves that the government has put out, like half of them are frozen, which has really crippled Russia's ability to respond economically. People have 35 billion frozen. They can't fucking eat. They can't fucking eat. In shock. Who knew he would decide this without thinking? He set everyone up. Everyone and everything. All the country. All the people. It's not even about money. It's about morals and even psychology. My goodness, man. But I do gotta say, like, if the United States support for Ukraine holds, as I believe it will and hope it will, if it holds throughout this year and holds at least with the current presidency, what are the Russians gonna do? What is the plan? They only have so much currency left in reserves. They only have so many tanks that they can throw into the meat grinder that get blown up that are of a high quality. We already saw tanks from Stalin's era being shipped to areas possibly near the front line. We saw it was being shipped in the direction of the war. We don't know if it's being sent directly to the war, if it's just going to be given to LPR, DPR troops, which would be likely if they are actually being sent into the war, maybe Wagner boys. What is the options left on the table for Putin? Because they're not going to take Kiev. His original goals, as announced, well, his original goal was just to take over the country. When that failed, they released a list of kind of like other goals, stopping the expansion of NATO. Well, Finland's on path to NATO membership, Sweden's on the path to NATO membership, so that seems to be failing. Demilitarizing Ukraine. Well, Ukraine's more militarized than ever with Western weapons. It was, I think it was protecting the Russian speakers of Eastern Ukraine. The Russians have been unable to hold on to the Donbass or capture all of the Donbass even. And so the idea that they're going to liberate, quote unquote, all of the Russian speakers is ridiculous. They got pushed back in the Kharkiv counteroffensive. They got pushed back in the Kherson counteroffensive. Over 50% of the territory that they captured on February 24th has been recaptured. And there's a real possibility that even more territory will be captured in a possible Ukrainian counteroffensive in Zaporozhye. That's not even to comment on the fact that the reason they gave was protecting the Russian speakers of Eastern Ukraine, when many Russian speakers are fighting against them in the military. I've met them. I filmed them. The footage is on my main channel, DylanBurnsLIVE, if you want to go check it out. It's one of the first videos, I think actually the first video I released on the ground in Ukraine. They were all speaking Russians in Zaporozhye. It is Russian speakers who are throwing them back. Hell, even Azov is a Russian-speaking organization. Not to mention the fact that if the goal is to protect the Russian speakers of Eastern Ukraine, they have miserably failed at that. I think before the war, it was like 7, maybe 9 people died related to the scuffles in Eastern Ukraine. In 2022, that number has drastically gone up by like more than 1,000, 2,000, like more than 5,000%. It's insane how much the number has gone up. We're talking about death tolls of like hundreds of thousands in some estimations. When we try to like account for how many people died in Mariupol, we don't know because the Russians won't release that information. The Russians won't give that information. So we're kind of guessing. But we're talking about tens upon 20s upon 30s, 40, 50,000, 100,000, tons of dead Russian speakers. Russia is the #1 killer of civilian Russian speakers in the world through the bombing campaign. And they invaded to protect them. All these goals are failing and have not been achieved. None of them have been achieved. An operation that was meant to be basically a week long, 3 days, if you believe U.S. intelligence and what Lukashenko was saying on public television. It was supposed to be a 3-day to a week-long operation to take Kiev, and now it's an 8 to 9 month operation to take the city of Bakhmut, a city with a pre-war population of 70,000, in comparison to Kiev's 3.5 million. A city less than 1/40th of the size. And it's taking them 8 to 9 months. They were supposed to take the capital in a week. It's embarrassing, man. It's no wonder the oligarchs feel this way. He practically buried all the Russian people. Yes, buried all the Russian people. And for a while, when can we wash it all off? It's a fratricidal country. Fratricidal. You say that Russia's killing itself because of the war. Yes. The only way is if he wins it. If he also loses it, then it's all fucking over. And what does winning mean? What does winning mean in the Putin context? Because they're not going to get their original goals. I mean, if they get the Donbass, that would be a miracle at this point. And I don't think that's going to happen. I've been to Kramatorsk. I don't think they're taking that city. It takes them this long to take Bakhmut. It's going to take them a year or two to take Kramatorsk. Good luck with that. And I don't know if they've got the equipment to do it. To be quite frank, if they're considering sending Stalin's tanks to the front, tanks from Stalin's reign, I don't know how it can be won. I'm following, watching. I have 18 websites. I'm not an idiot. I don't know how, in this fucking mud, in this snow, I'm watching this film, Liberation. People went and covered portholes with their bodies because they went for liberation of their country from the German fascist joke, from occupiers. But here, it's all made up. He's recruiting convicts and mercenaries. Okay, so this is him saying that the goal of liberation in Ukraine is fake. It's all nonsense. They're just pulling upon, old Soviet diatribes, and instead they're recruiting mercenaries and convicts. Which is true. They are recruiting mercenaries and convicts. The Wagner Group. In fact, the mercenaries recruit the convicts. My goodness, look at that. Truly, truly working together. Teamwork makes the dream work. You noticed this creative. Did you notice how creative? Rusnia, racists, like fascists. You understand? Pay attention. Pay attention. Yes. The slogans the Ukrainians use. That's true. We do. Something I hear a lot is Russists. It's along the idea of that, like, Russian fascists, that they are hardcore Russian nationalists and they want to impose Russian and the Russian people and the Russian way of doing things on everyone else. And it's something I hear a lot. And here is them acknowledging that it has worked, and the Ukrainian people don't support them. Yes, their PR is working.
Immoral, morally corrupt, bankrupt man.
Hey, Safety Monkey, thank you for the Prime being sub for 3 months on a 1-month streak. I've been enjoying your work more recently covering the Ukraine conflict. Keep up the good work. Hey, I'm happy that I've been able to convince a few people that my work over here is somewhat worthwhile. Hopefully I can keep your favor as my work continues to improve. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, their PR is working. They prepared well, but ours, they fucked up everything. Everything. I can only say that to you. When we went to Kiev, we should have taken that closed command point, but they were told that.
Ну ладно. Когда эти наши пошли туда, под Киевом, они должны были взять этот закрытый командный пункт, называется, ЗКП. Они сказали, что все.
Okay, I think that's it. That's it. That's all the juicy parts. Now, the stuff that you didn't hear was them complaining about sanctions and how it's affected them and how it's made it poorer. There's a bunch of, this is like a 30-minute long call. And so this was just the juiciest parts that we kind of condensed here. So obviously, having oligarchs come on, having these businessmen and politicians, former politicians, come on a call and say all this stuff, and it gets leaked, it embarrasses the government. The majority of Russians, the majority of Ukrainians, everybody believes this is real despite the claims of the people involved. Kind of weird how the people involved are also saying, it's not real, but also I have a right to privacy. Like, it's only something you would say if it was real. I do want to show that there has been a reaction to the leaked call between Losif Prigozhin and Farrakhan. They believe the call was real, and I just wanted to show you the reaction from Russian military telegram. I also listened to this conversation yesterday, allegedly between Isyov Prigozhin and Farkhad Akhmedov. Before that, I was reading appeals, talking to our military guys, asking about Storm Unit. Yes, it's hard. It's extremely hard for me. And sometimes I don't see the light. And when I listen to these people, I realize it was them who led this. Akhmedov and Prigozhin say that trouble is at the front, that people are dying, and even drop phrases that I use too. But here's the difference. We remain here in our country. We work for victory. We help at the front. We are our Russia. We are with those who perish. Yes, we may die tomorrow. And these people are discussing how to tear a pat feast from the country. Oh, what a pity for people. They are dying there. Isyov, you should earn some contracts and sit it out in Dubai. You fucking freaks. Prigozhin is considering whether or not to sell his property in London. Sell it. Give money to buy drones. Or are you afraid of sanctions? Okay, fine. Your property is your decision. but talking about how to get more money from the state and fuck off from the country is just top notch. Fucking patriotism like this. The president is to blame for everything. Dude, you know how much I heard before this war from conservatives? Like, dude, if we ever fought a war with Russia, man, their patriotism would just be so strong that all of our new modern tech weapons that we would lose so hard. The president is to blame for everything. They removed all responsibility from themselves and shifted it to him. So get your asses up. There are 140 million of them in the country. Unprincipled, greedy, infantile bastards. P.S. I'm sorry, but I can't help but express myself. I urgently need new curse words to describe what is happening. I feel sorry for the state, which fed them and feeds them. Traitors. Here's the original translation. It got over 230,000 views on Russian Telegram. Okay, so first off, I gotta defend these guys, and I can't believe I do, but they didn't order the invasion. Do you think the critique of, like, he just invaded, didn't tell anyone, and then it went belly up? You think it's their fault that it went belly up? You could say that maybe they contributed to a culture of corruption, but Putin bases his support in office off of a culture of corruption. That's how he keeps the support of oligarchs, by keeping them fat and healthy and happy. Hell, if they're not fat and happy with money and big government contracts, giving it to his friends, I don't know if Putin would be in power today or if he could stay in power. That's why this war is a threat to him. Because if this war gets bad enough that oligarchs like these guys start saying, I'm not fat and happy, then maybe the support will drop, as we're seeing these guys starting to indicate. Them calling Putin a midget. That's not something you say about somebody you want to support. That's not something you say about somebody that you like. They call him insecure. They say he messed up the whole invasion, which he did. They're being honest. So instead, they want to concentrate on the fact that these guys are corrupt, which I'm sure they are. Okay, I'm sure they wanted to make money off the war. They want to make as much money as possible. They want to be profitable guys. But 90% of the critiques they levy about how nobody who's managing this conflict knows how to win it, there's not a plan to win, there's nowhere to go, Putin got us into this war, dragged us into it without consulting the people, he's wasted 20 years of work doing this war. All of that is true. And you can try to just, try to funnel all your energy into anger towards them for telling the truth in a private conversation. But, the truth hurts. The truth is brutal. The truth is hard. The truth is mean. Okay? You can't change the truth, no matter how much you want to. You can debate it, you can deny it, you can avoid it, but the truth is the truth, and it's not going anywhere. Sucks for the Russians, though, doesn't it? Oof.